Hey guys, it's me again. And I just reviewed Child's Play 3, so now I'm going to take a look at Seed of Chucky, the 5th film in the Child's Play franchise. And I've already reviewed Bride of Chucky, so if you're thinking that I skipped one, no, I didn't. That was one of my earliest reviews. I did on here. I reviewed the first 2 movies and Bride already, so, because they're my favorites, so I'm going to review the remaining entries. So yes, we have Seed of Chucky. I've got the theatrical cut and the unrated extended cut. I don't know why they couldn't just put them on the same DVD set as a 2-disc or something. But I don't know. I guess they get your money that way. There's really not really much of a difference aside from a few scenes. That, it's not really even worth mentioning. The differences. The ending's like a little different. There's like few extra shots here and there. It's not really one of the unrated cuts that's like a completely different movie or anything. So anyway, yeah, it's the 5th film in the Child's Play franchise. Takes place after Bride of Chucky, after Chucky and Tiffany were killed in the graveyard, and then Tiffany gave birth to their demonic offspring, who is now like 5 years old, or 5 or 6 years old. This movie came out in 2004. So yeah, it's been about 6 years since Bride of Chucky. So I guess he's been about 6 years old. He's like a freak. He's half doll. Well, he's actually all doll. But he's alive. And he's not anatomically correct either. He's androgynous and gender confused. But I think he's predominantly a male. He's a little boy for the most part. But I'll get to that in a minute. And he's working as a ventriloquist dummy for this guy who, his audience thinks that he's just a dummy, and the guy's a really good ventriloquist. But really, Glenn is their offspring is talking for himself. He doesn't have the name Glenn yet, but that's what Chucky and Tiffany name him. But anyway, he sees his mom and the movie is being made about Chucky, and he sees his mom and dad, on the television, and realizes that those are his parents. So he travels to Hollywood, after escaping the ventriloquist who was abusive to him, and he has the amulet that they obtained at the end of Bride of Chucky. They dug it up from Charles Lee Ray's grave. That's the guy who died and possessed Chucky. Brad Dourif, who also voices the character. And Glenn somehow resurrects Chucky and Tiffany from the props used in the movie being made about them, the dolls. And so the 3 of them are in Hollywood, and carnage ensues. Glenn, their offspring of Chucky and Tiffany, doesn't want to be a killer like his parents, and Tiffany even decides that they should quit. They should stop taking innocent lives and just try to focus on starting a family and get themselves into human bodies. She sets her sights on Jennifer Tilly, who is, in addition to voicing Tiffany and playing the human Tiffany in the last movie, is playing herself. Jennifer Tilly playing the actress Jennifer Tilly. So it's kind of like a meta thing going on. It's kind of confusing and convoluted. I thought that was kind of weird. I thought it would have been better if maybe they just met up with Tiffany's twin sister, who was maybe a good person or something. And transfer her soul into her body so she can look like herself, because it's kind of far-fetched that this actress happens to look just like Tiffany, which is a human, aside from a different hair color. But anyway, yeah. So she decides to transfer her soul to Tiffany. Then a red man is in this movie. Rappers were getting into all my favorite movies around this time, like the early 2000s, mid-2000s. Busta Rhymes was in Halloween Resurrection, and a few others. But luckily he dies. He's killed by Tiffany. So Chucky was planning on transferring his soul into him, but he dies, which is awesome, because I couldn't stand him. Anyway, the funny thing is, apart from Jennifer Tilly as herself, the main characters are really Chucky and Tiffany and Glenn. They're the lead. Chucky's the main character. He gets the main focus here, and a lot of people have the problem with this movie being a straight up comedy as opposed to being a horror film like some of the past entries. But that never bothered me. I never cared. I thought it was a necessary step to go. And Chucky was always funny. He always had witty one-liners and wisecracks. So here's a full-blown comedian, but he's still menacing. He still kills people. He's still evil. He's just. And he was human after all. It only makes sense he's going to act like a human. This movie's hilarious. This is one of the best comedies I've ever seen. It's just a riot. Very, very funny scenes, very funny lines. God, Chucky's one of the funniest characters ever. And in the next movie, Curse of Chucky brought it back to its horror roots. So everybody wins. We got the comedy Chucky, we got plenty of the horror Chucky. The thing is, Chucky wasn't scary anymore at this point. We already knew he was alive. There's no reason to keep him mysterious in the shadows. The cat's already out of the bag. I thought it made for some great comedy. There's some great scenes. However, I will say this is probably the worst movie in the series. It is my least favorite, but I still love it. It's still highly entertaining. I still give it about an 8 out of 10. It is the worst, but it's not bad. It's not at all. It's awesome. I love it. I had such a blast seeing this in theaters. Now, my problem with the movie isn't that it's a comedy and that it focuses too much on Chucky, the evil dolls. My problem was there's certain things that don't make sense. Like, how did Glenn resurrect his parents just by having the amulet and having props of them from the movie? Were these dolls that were used in the movie, were they the same dolls they found in the graveyard all those years ago? Did they recreate them? If so, they wouldn't have needed to have the chant to resurrect him. Every time Chucky was recreated, like in parts 2 and 3, he just came back. His soul returned when they put him back together. Although Tiffany did use the voodoo chant in Bride of Chucky. But they kind of new rules this time. Don Mancini had to keep it fresh. He had to come up with new ways. It couldn't just be Chucky trying to get in a human body and killing people again, and that's it. They had to bring something new to the table. I think this movie definitely did that. But yeah, that's one of my main problems. Another thing that doesn't make sense is they impregnate Jennifer Tilly using Chucky's sperm so that Glenn has a human body to transfer his soul into, so he doesn't have to be a doll anymore either. They're all trying to become human. Now, wouldn't these kids, these babies, nobody ever seems to notice this, except for me, it seems like. Wouldn't these babies be half doll? They came from Chucky's sperm. Glenn is all doll. He came from 2 parents that were dolls. Does that mean if a doll and a human have a baby? I can't believe I'm talking about this. Listen to me say this. I can't believe I'm actually discussing this. What a weird thing to talk about. But still, within the movie, in universe, it doesn't make much sense. How come these babies aren't part doll? They do have Chucky's red hair and stuff. They do resemble him, but they came from his sperm, just like Glenn did. How come they're not part doll? And also, Tiffany doesn't seem to care that if Glenn transfers his soul into these 2 babies, it turns out Glenn is schizophrenic, by the way. He's split personalities, a boy and a girl. He's like transgender, and he's a transvestite, and he's a male and female. There's like almost 2 personalities, which somehow they were able to split his soul into 2 and transfer him into both babies. And yeah, Tiffany doesn't seem to care that. Wouldn't this mean that the babies died once he transferred his soul into them, or did the baby's souls go into the doll body? It's never explained. We don't even see Glenn's doll body anymore. And how does... Okay, so somebody has split personalities, they can transfer both personalities into something, into another human or something? Yeah, that didn't make any sense. I've noticed nobody really seems to talk about this much. People just say, oh, this movie's too funny, it's not scary. That's like the only complaint I ever hear. That's the only thing I can ever get out of anybody. It focuses too much on Chucky. He's the main character. I don't care. I think it's awesome. I think it's hilarious. My problem is these things don't make sense. These things I mentioned. Also, the Hollywood setting could have been milked a lot more. Like, they do encounter Britney Spears. They do encounter John Waters playing a paparazzi guy who's, taking pictures of Jennifer Tilly and stuff. But there's, and I guess Redman's there, but like there should have been like more stars, like more actors, and we should have saw more of like Hollywood. Too much of it takes place like in Jennifer Tilly's house, but that's a minor complaint. I just feel like they could have done more with that. Also, I do like the character of Glenn. He's voiced by Billy Boyd, from the awesome Lord of the Rings movies, which Brad Dourif was also in, which is pretty cool. They were both in Lord of the Rings. He was a cool character. I'm glad they kind of focused on him. It's kind of told from his point of view. It's kind of his story. And then his parents are resurrected, and it's all about them. I like how they're the main characters. They're the main focus. Look, they even get top billing. Look, because it's Chucky, Tiffany, then Jennifer Tilly, and Redman. Some great kills in this movie. This is definitely the goriest of all the Chucky movies. The first movie wasn't about gore. It was more about suspense, scares, just... eerie atmosphere and creepy moments. This movie's definitely all about the gore. This movie goes full-blown entertainment. This is definitely the most fun movie to watch. Get together a bunch of friends, order a pizza, pop some popcorn, grab some sodas, and put this one in. You're in for a very good time. That's what I love about this movie. And yeah, I do have those same problems with it. Certain things didn't add up. Certain things didn't make any sense. With the whole voodoo angle, how did he resurrect his parents without their original bodies? Unless they were the original bodies, in which case they should have already been resurrected. Was it just because he thought about them, he was thinking about them, or because the amulet had some kind of ties to Chucky? Was he had some kind of connection to it or something? The amulet didn't even exist in the first movies. It was invented for Bride of Chucky, but I never had a problem with that. They had to give the series its legs somehow. A lot of people think these movies jumped the shark, but I love them. I think they're awesome. As I said, there's not a terrible entry in this in this series. Like I said in my Child's Play 3 video, it doesn't have a Jason X or a Halloween Resurrection or Freddy's Dead or whatever. Texas Chainsaw Massacre: The Next Generation. There isn't a terrible entry in here, and it hasn't been remade. And yeah, I love seeing a Chucky. But yeah, again, those things don't make sense. The babies aren't part doll. Tiffany didn't seem to care that they were going to die. The Jennifer Tilly character, they didn't make it clear at first that Tiffany actually did transfer her soul into her body at the end. They do reveal it later on. But yeah, it was kind of weird the way they did it. And then, does that mean Jennifer Tilly was in Tiffany's body? I bet she died because Chucky killed her. He chopped her in the head with an axe, so I guess Jennifer Tilly's soul died. I don't know. Certain things were unexplained and left a little too vague, and it seems like some scenes did just like kind of want to set up for more comedy, which I kind of have an issue with. Again, I don't have a problem if this is a comedy. I just kind of have an issue with certain things were left out in place of just to set up more humorous moments, which I would appreciate more explanation, more exposition, if you will. I think the funniest moment's probably when Chucky's going after his family. Tiffany leaves him at the end because he decides he likes being a killer doll. He's a breakthrough. He wants to stay in the doll's body. I mean, isn't that crazy? His goal for all these movies has been to become human again. But he says, I'm one of the notorious slashers ever. I won't get sick or get old. He's got everything he wants. He wants to be a doll. He digs it. That was a huge breakthrough, It'd be like Michael Myers saying, you know what, I don't want to kill my sister. I want to go, to go on vacation to the Bahamas or something. But, anyway, I'm just being stupid now. But yeah, then Tiffany leaves him, and he comes after him. He chops a hole in the... I always go on tangents. Sorry I got off on topic, but yeah, he chops a hole in the door, puts his face through, and we all know what was coming. The obvious, here's Chucky, but no, he says, I can't think of a thing to say. That was just hilarious. It was a riot. These are probably the funniest movies. There's all kinds of funny lines. Funny Chucky moments, hilarious, very well written. This is the first one written by Don Mancini. There's too many great Chucky lines to mention, by the way. But yeah, Don Mancini's always written all the Chucky movies. Chucky's his child. It's his baby. It's his creation. He wrote all the movies. This is his directorial debut. He also directed the Curse of Chucky, which came after, and the upcoming Cult of Chucky, which is coming in October. See my trailer reaction for more info on that, and look it up on IMDb and YouTube. Look up the trailer. So yeah, this was his directorial debut, and I think he did a great job. I think it's hilarious. As again, a lot of people had problems with it. They thought that Chucky should just be scary again, but the same movie over and over. Chucky's inanimate for the first 40 minutes, and they reveal that he's alive over and over and over. They want the same thing. It's like, just watch the first Chucky movie for that. But having said that, I am glad that Curse of Chucky took a more horror direction and did attempt to make Chucky scary again. So more info on that in my next video, which I'll be reviewing Curse of Chucky. But yeah, all in all, Seed of Chucky's highly entertaining. It's very fun. It's hilarious. It's a good time. It's polar opposite from the first Child's Play movie. The Chucky character has come a long way. He's very dynamic. He's changed a lot. I love Chucky. He's like a family member. He's just so awesome. I never get tired of him. And as I said, yeah, there's so many hilarious lines, so many funny moments. Glenn was also a good character, I thought. He's a great addition to the franchise. It's cool. Chucky got a bride and had a son, Seed. Pretty much a son and a daughter, essentially. So yeah, how many horror villains get to do that? It's pretty cool. Yeah, I just love this movie. Yeah, check out both versions, the unrated cut as well. As I said, there's not too many differences. There's not a whole lot of changes from the original. But yeah, check it out just to see more. And yeah, I still have some problems with the movie. It has its flaws, but again, it's not terrible. It's not unwatchable. It's not god-awful like some people say. I think it's really good. Not as good as some of the best entries, which in my opinion are 1, 2, Bride, and Curse are the best ones. Child's Play 3 and Seed of Chucky are the weakest, but they're still great. I still love them a lot. So, I highly recommend it, nonetheless. Alright guys, well, we got one more review to do. That'll be Curse of Chucky, and that is until Cult of Chucky comes out. And then I've finished up all the entries in what I consider the big 5 of horror franchises. The Jason, Freddy, Leatherface, Myers, and Chucky. All those sagas. So, I'm Hellhound. Thanks for watching my show, and next time we'll look at Curse of Chucky.